Welcome back to the channel, Image Bearers. It's your girl, Livs, and I am back with another video. And today, I have a very extremely special guest that I am so excited to introduce to you guys. You guys have no idea how much it took to get this guest sitting here, because this is not her speed, but she loves me so much, so she's here. So everybody, I'd like to introduce you to my mom. Say hi.
Hello, everybody.
So you guys, this is my bestie. This is my mom, but she's obviously like my bestie. We're like this. And basically, I just wanted to, for us to do like a little mother-daughter duo podcast, because I think that our relationship is very special, very unique. And I just think our story can inspire and encourage a lot of other people. So let's talk about it. So I'm going to ask mommy the questions. She's going to answer to the best of her ability. This is not her thing, you guys, but it's going to be her thing. She's going to have fun. So comment down below and tell her how great of a job she did, like right now.
Okay.
Okay, mommy. So today's topic, you guys, we're going to be talking about, I guess to give them a backstory, it's been me and my mommy our whole lives. It's just us two. We're just like, you see me, you see her, you see her, you see me. Just besties, to be honest. And it's been like that for our whole lives. But I think we like to think of ourselves as, hasn't just been us, it's been God and us. And I think that because of that, we just find it necessary, or I find it necessary to just, have a space where we just talk about God's goodness, of how he's brought us through, how we've gotten to where we've gotten. We have such a close bond that I think a lot of people admire. But I think that when people look at us, they might see the product, but not know some of the things that could happen behind the scenes of the journey of everything. So I just wanted to talk about that, because I think there's a lot of, parents out there. There's a lot of only children out there, or even if you're not an only child, or you're not a single parent, I think that there's just, trials that parents go through, right? Mm-hmm. And there's, from the children's perspective, there's things that we go through too. And it's like, how do you get to that place of just oneness and being, everything is okay, So, and I think my mom is a great person and a great example to just, just get that advice from, and just hear the things that she's gone through and how did we get to where we've gotten to. Do you agree?
I agree.
Yay! Okay, so to start, easy question. Tell the people 3 things about yourself.
3 things about myself. I'm first and foremost a Christian. Mm-hmm. And I'm the mother of my only child, mm-hmm. Libby. And I'm also a proud mother-in-law for the first.
Okay, those are good. Those are good facts.
Yes.
Guys, can I add?
Sure.
She's also the youngest of 10 kids. Okay. Mm-hmm. She is a wonderful, hardworking nurse, a very hardworking woman, extremely, and she's the best mom in the world. Okay. Okay. That. Okay, mommy. So the first question I want to ask you is, you and, like I've told the people, it's always been just you and I. I don't know if, I don't think that anybody ever, or not many people might not say, okay, I want to raise a child by myself. Like, I don't think a lot of people, some people do, but maybe not all people who get married. I don't think they're like, yeah, like my end goal is to raise the kids by myself, right? Mm-hmm. So I think my first question would be like, when you did realize like that was the case, like how did you find the strength to just say, you know what? This is it. It's not what I chose. It's not what I've always wanted, but I just need to find the strength to to do this? Like, how did you do that? And like, how did you find the strength even when you did not feel strong?
Well, like you said, it was never my choice. Actually, it was everything I did not want. I prayed since I was a child to be a wife and to be a mother and to have a family, a intact together family, as far as we knew family, with a mom and a dad and children. Um, but I didn't know what the Lord had in store for me. But I was always making myself available and vulnerable to whatever direction he took. I did get married, as far as people today call a little late. I got married at 27 or 28 years old.
That's
Yeah.
late.
It's to some people.
Yeah.
And so by the time you came along, I was ready for a family. So when unfortunately a divorce took place just a couple of years later, of course it left me devastated, but it also, I knew I couldn't just roll over and die. I knew I had a beautiful baby that needed me at the time, and that I must press on. But all the dreams, my 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 thoughts were at the time, because I may have been not leaning, I may have been leaning on myself too much, and the all the everything I had in place and in chronological order. And so because I was leaning on myself and I had it all planned out, I thought everything was gone, or that
Yeah.
was losing all of that. But the Lord had to step in and show me that I was losing what I made, so that could make room for his path and what he had in store for me. It wasn't an easy realization for me to come to and then be happy with it,
Yeah.
because when it hit me that you are a single parent, and I'm not saying that to discredit any single parent out there or anything. It was just something I didn't want for
Want.
myself. I it took me quite a while to even say, to call myself a single parent, because it was just something I didn't want for my life. I wanted a nucleus family, and I felt it, to me it signaled failure. Like someone along the way had failed, and I was the result of that failure by
Yeah.
having just a daughter and by myself.
Yeah.
And I hated people feeling sorry for me, and I wanted to say I am good, I am still strong, I can still do this. And so it was just the grace of God that turned things around. So I just had to come to that realization when the Lord says, she still has a dad. I
Yeah.
had to realize that she still has a dad. It's not a physical man of the house who will come home and she will run to his feet, but I am going to provide for her, and she will have a dad. And he did. I mean, you didn't have one dad, you ended up having lots of dads, because he provided all these different father figures
Yeah.
in your life, that every part that needed to be played, it was provided. But it took a long time for me to see that this is how God was going to work our story out
Yeah. Yeah.
for me. But in the beginning, it was not something I welcomed or embraced.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I was going to add, even on my end, you would always tell me, you don't come from a single parent home. Like, Jesus is your dad. And I remember when I was little, I believed the thought so much. And I'm talking about when I was little, but I know it's true to even this day. But I remember when I was younger, I would go to school
Yes.
and tell people, Jesus is my dad. Jesus is my dad. Like, I would be at school and I'd open the book and I say, oh, this is for Jesus who's sitting right next to me. In my brain, I never like really thought, oh, like, I don't have a dad. And the Lord was so kind over the years that wherever I needed that male figure, I guess, like he would raise somebody up to fill that gap. I mean, nobody's ever going to fill it fully, but I mean, he still provided. When the Bible says he's a father to the fatherless, like the Lord really put people into place where I never grew up like feeling like, oh my gosh, like woe is me, like, you know what I mean? So I think that is a good perspective, because I think a lot of people who do come from single parent homes, they feel like they need to like take on this, oh my gosh, like I just have all of this trauma and yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Not to say that growing up without a father, some things are not going to be a result of that in your character or in your thought processes or whatever, but it doesn't always have to just be bad. Exactly. You know what I mean? So you were really good at doing that for me.
I remember when you came in the car one day and you couldn't wait to tell me how devastated you were that the kids were laughing at you because you told them that Jesus was your dad. And I remember just the words just came out without me even thinking. And I said, it's okay. Jesus is your dad. It's just that they can't see. And they're jealous that they don't have, the creator
yes,
to be their dad.
Literally.
So, and that at that time, it sufficed for you. It turned it around. And I mean, I wasn't being facetious or trying to placate you as a kid. I really believed that.
Yeah, for sure.
And to this day, that's how we've lived our lives. Jesus is your dad. And you go to him just like you would your dad. And,
exactly.
And tell him what you need. And
yeah.
And he will tell me. So and we've lived that way.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. My next question would be like if the answer is no, that's okay, but I think it's a question that maybe if there are other parents watching this, they might resonate with it. Did you ever feel like you failed me in growing up? Like, I guess on the spot you had to like learn how to be mom and dad and all of these roles. Like, were there ever times that you felt like you failed me? And if you did, like, how did you bridge that gap, or how did you maybe get yourself out of that thought process to say like, no, like I'm trying my best here.
I can honestly say there were times when I felt like I failed you. I mean, at the beginning, I thought, here I am with this little child that I prayed for and that the Lord has given to me. And now the plan was for this child to grow up with a mom and a dad. And I failed. I felt like I failed. But then the Lord had to rescue me to release me from that guilt, because it was a guilt that I walked around with or I carried with me, saying, here I am, this child did not ask to be in our lives, and now this child is here, and I failed by not giving you the best, because to this day I believe that you deserve the best. And only the best is good enough for you. And I felt like the best was a mom and a dad and you and maybe even another sibling. But I had to learn that it's not, I'm giving you still my best, but God can give you
the best.
His best. And His best far outweighs my best. So it was when I came to that conclusion or that realization that I am not failing you. I am doing what God has asked me to do in raising you. You're on loan to me, and I'm doing the best that I can do. I mean, being a nurse, it's hard. Being a nurse and a single mother is even harder because I can tell you, I've driven to work on Christmas mornings when everybody is in their homes and celebrating, and some of the hardest moments was when you would have to be at somebody else's house on a Christmas morning when you should be opening up your gifts under the tree at our house, and you were at an auntie's house or something. And I would drive to work with such a guilt that maybe sometimes it would bring me to tears, you know, because that was never the plan.
Yeah.
But then the Lord would show me that, you know, he make provisions, and if I worked days, then I would come home, to the home that you were,
Yeah.
and we would still have a great Christmas. And I think a part of that was why I overcompensated. And I know that parents will sometimes do that. A lot of parents overcompensate by bringing gifts and spoiling the kids because they want to make up for that.
Yeah.
I don't think I spoilt you, but I do believe that I sort of overcompensated because I remember one Christmas year,
Yeah.
you were going over to your auntie, and the car was filled with toys. Literally, and they were all for you to open
Yeah.
on Christmas morning. Then you would open them and I'd drive them all
the
back
way back,
home.
yeah.
But I just wanted you to not feel abandoned or rejected or left out.
Yeah.
And so I realized that it wasn't all my job to make you feel included and accepted. It was that God has accepted you. God, you're not rejected. You're a precious in his sight, and you're a precious gift to not just me, but to him.
Yeah.
And thank God you were surrounded by love.
Yes. Yeah.
You had more than enough aunties and uncles
Yeah.
and cousins there. So
And I think, like, I think even on my perspective, I don't think I ever, like, it's funny that you say sometimes you'd feel bad in the Christmas mornings when you'd have to leave and stuff. On my end, I always just felt like that's even more why I want to make sure, like, I succeed because I see the sacrifices that my mom has made. I never thought in my brain, like, she wants to do this. Like, she doesn't want to be here Christmas morning and be with me or anything like that. I saw it more as like, Liberty, this is why you got to make your mom proud because look at all the sacrifices she's made for you. Yeah. And the truth is that my memories were great. Like, it's not like, I think you did an amazing job of making me feel like nothing is wrong with me. I don't think anything was wrong with me, but I'm just saying, I think that I remember, was it a Christmas? I think it was a Christmas, and I was at an auntie's house, and there was this trip that the kids were going on. Like, there's, like, in grade school, there's, like, these, like, significant trips. In grade 5, you go to Claremont. In grade 6, you go to St. Denis, da-da-da-da. Guys, I thought I was not going on the trip because I was like, it's a lot of money, yada, yada, yada. Like, and I remember one Christmas morning when my mom had to go to work, but she did up the card and everything for me to open. Why am I going to get emotional? She did up the card and everything for me to open. And lo and behold, like, I opened it and it was, I'm going on the trip that was so expensive. Like, I just thought, like, we couldn't, like, it wasn't doable, like, you know? But you did so well, and just, like, if you could do it, like, you just made everything possible. And for me, like, I just remember those great lengths that you would really go to just to say, like, okay, like, she is not that statistic, like, she's not that odd one out, like, and I think the Lord saw that and also, like, met us in it. Like, there was not a trip that I missed. There was not an event that I missed. I went to Disney World, and I felt like I did things that even people with who grew up with the whole family and everything, like I've done things that I maybe even some of them they have never done because of just your sacrifice and your your drive to say like I want her to be okay. I want her to be happy. And I think it just made me on my end as the child say like there's no way I can disappoint her. There's no way, like, you know.
And Libby, that's just a part of the God answer to that question or to that section of our lives. It's just when God says it's okay, then trust him at his word. It's okay. He's going to make it right. He's not a man that he should lie. He's no man's debtor. He will pay every debt. So the fact that it was not in chronological order or in the perfect package of what I could perceive in my mind, it's still, it's the way he wanted it.
Yeah.
And the way he wanted it has become the end product of this. Because maybe if you had your dad involved in your life, you would have had a second person to when I say no, he says yes, or that back and forth. And the Lord just knew that he had a different plan for your life and he just wanted one vision. I don't know if that's the answer, but that is what it's looking like to me, because it was just my answer, whatever you asked, and that was it. You didn't have another option. And so the way he opened all the doors for you to be able to, like you said, go on these trips and have nothing lack. You were perfectly put together. You learned manners. You learned how to be treated as a young lady in the later on years, or even as a little girl. You know, I would take you to the movies. I would take you to plays and to musicals and to, because I needed you to be well rounded. And so I believe that he opened all those doors and he made all of those things possible.
Yeah.
More so than if I had a husband.
Yeah.
Because
Who knows what would have happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think because I didn't and he chose to be the husband, then he went above and beyond.
Yeah.
So I am grateful, and honestly I can sit here now and say, from someone who hated the term and wouldn't use it, and not as a stigma, but I just didn't, because it's just something I so did not want. To sitting here now, I am grateful. I am so grateful that I got to see the goodness of God despite things not being perfect.
Yeah.
How he can turn things around
For
for
his good.
our good still, you know? So we have to always trust God.
Yeah.
No matter what. It may not look the picture that we wanted or intended, but just keep trusting God, because the way he works it out, it's better than you could ever think, ask, or imagine.
You almost have to find your security in his character more than the circumstances.
Exactly.
So if you trust God, trust that he is good. Even if the circumstance doesn't look good, if you trust that his character is good, then it will turn to good.
Yes.
That's good. I wanted to touch on a little bit of our relationship and how we've become so close. Obviously, now that I'm older, I feel like we're more like besties. When I was younger, it's more we're still mother-daughter, and that respect will always be there. But I think that when I was younger, it's more like mother-daughter, because you're in like the crux of raising me to be.
And that was a great job and a responsibility that I took really seriously.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want you to be that statistic. I didn't want you to be that product. So that the statistics were, okay, so your mom's at work doing an afternoon shift and you're home by yourself. And so, you know, we've seen all of that, and we've seen the teenage pregnancy. We've seen the all the other things that stemmed from that, but I was determined, and
That it would
so
be, yeah.
that battle, I can honestly say I won on my knees. And I would tell you that Holy Spirit tells me everything.
Oh, you guys.
I would tell you that because I am telling you, Holy Spirit was working overtime.
Yep.
I would just tell you, don't even think of it.
There were times where if even if I thought of doing something bad, she would just, yeah. Or in the
Yeah.
midst of doing something bad, she would just barge in and be like,
Yeah.
It was actually freaky. It was
Yes.
actually very freaky.
Because it
But-
was you, me, and the Holy Spirit. Yes.
But what advice though would you give to other parents who want that close relationship with their children? So obviously there's like that stage of you're going to have to be good cop, bad cop, whatever you're going to have to be to raise your child. But then there's obviously a transition that's going to have to take place where, you know, if you want that closeness and that bond with your children, like how to do that so that they don't grow up and like, oh, forget my parents
Yeah,
or
yeah.
oh, like,
No,
you know.
from beginning to the end, the foundation is love. That kid needs to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that they are loved. That was everything I had inside of me. I put in you to show you how much you were loved, how much I loved you, how much God loved you, how much your uncles and your aunts loved you. You needed a kid cannot function without being loved. That is something that holds them together. That is something that keeps them safe. That is something that takes fear away from them. They can't feel like they're not loved, so they go outside and look for because that needing love is a void that God has put inside of you.
Yeah.
And they will go and find it because they will seek for it. You seek for love.
That's deep.
And I didn't want you to seek for it elsewhere when it was right here. So I gave it all to you. I showed you in ways. Love is a verb, and it's in your action. It's in everything. Yes, you have to discipline. Yes, and you were not short of discipline. So yes, I had to discipline you and everything, but it was never without love.
Yeah.
And we would talk about it after the discipline. We would come back and we would have a meeting. So I never treated you. Yes, I treated you as a child, but I treated you as a young person, like an individual with
Yeah.
a brain, with thoughts.
Yeah.
I had you think about things. I had you talk about things. We would
It's
talk
true.
about it. Why do you think this happened? Why do you
Yeah.
think? What do you think your punishment should be? I mean, it seems weird,
Sometimes, yeah.
but I had to treat you as an entity, as a person.
Yeah. And I think
like,
that's why I've grown up so articulate in terms of if I feel a way, I'm going to say it. Mom
Yes.
knows. And even in some of those times, if we would get in a little argument, I would just be like, but I feel like.
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
that was the training ground that you gave me to be able to articulate like
Yes. You
what's
need to
going on.
speak,
And I think
yes.
you were very good at, as I transitioned into seasons from teenager to young adult to like, you were very, like, I feel like there was a point where you had to say, okay, my child is growing up and she's starting to have different thoughts and her thoughts are maturing, and had to almost learn to say, okay, how do I give her the space? And how do I, as the parent, actually try and like hear what she has to say so that
Yes.
she feels heard? And I feel like even that was a process for us. But once we got it, we were just able to, I think we have that open relationship. You don't like
Exactly.
something, you tell me. I don't like something, you tell me.
yeah.
If we cry, fight, bicker, at the end of the day, you're right. We always know, like we would always say, I love you, but
Yeah, it was never without love, and it was never, we're never going to speak to each other. We've
Yeah.
never gotten to that point where
Yeah.
we're never, because that's just not something of God. It's not something
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah.
We've never encouraged that. We've never, families and just having disagreements are a part of life, and not because you don't agree with what I have to say. You're entitled to having your own opinion. Even as a kid, a young kid, you're entitled to having your opinion. I'm entitled, and we're going to argue or we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But then if we still don't disagree at the end of it, we'll agree to disagree.
Absolutely.
But you're going to have your own mind,
Yeah.
and I'm going to have my own mind.
Yeah.
And we're going to respect each other in that space.
yeah. Yeah.
And still love each
each other.
other. So that's where we
Able to grow that
yeah,
bond.
we
We able to
grew
grow.
that.
Emphasis on grow, because I think a lot of people do see us and they're like, "Wow, they're so close," but it was a process for us,
Yes.
and we had to both, I think, say, okay, if we want this relationship to be like forever and ever and ever, then what is the work that I guess we both have to. I'm a crybaby, so I had to learn sometimes to have a thicker skin, and you know what I mean? And mommy had to learn, okay, she's my child, but like she said, she's an individual. I want to know what she has to say. So if you are parents or kids out there and you're like, hey, like, I want that relationship with my parents, like, where can we start? Maybe considering that both have to like want
Surrender,
it.
yes. Surrender
put in the
to
work.
each other.
Yeah.
And realize that it's work. It's a work in having parents and child relationship. It's a work in having marriages. And I believe I gave you the tools to have an excellent marriage by just our relationship.
Yeah.
Because you have to teach someone how to love you. You know? Our relationship have evolved. You know? I couldn't, there was a point where I had to say, this is not a child anymore. You know,
Yeah.
this is an adult with, or soon to be adult. And,
Yeah.
and I have to equip you, because I would never, I would say all the time, I've never been like that huggy feely, but I would say,
But I am.
and the opposites attract. But yeah, but I would say I have to equip you for when, heaven forbid, something should happen. You have to be able to survive out there and to be on your own.
Because not everyone's huggy feely out here.
Yeah, exactly. So I would, try to give you those tools and try to forge those relationships and bonds and to cause you to realize also that even though we have a disagreement, it doesn't mean
You don't
we're
love me.
never it doesn't mean I don't love you, and
Yeah.
it doesn't mean we're never going to speak to each other. It doesn't mean you're going to ever disrespect me. It doesn't mean that I'm going to ever disrespect you. That respect and that love has always been there, and I think God has helped us.
For sure.
It's definitely
For sure.
I cannot have that conversation without saying it was by the grace of God.
Yeah.
Because one thing, our spiritual life has always been strong.
Yeah.
We've always, if there's an issue, we're going to God with
God.
it. And that's why we say he's still our Father.
Yeah.
Because he's so involved and intertwined into our lives that
Yeah.
he is real. He may
so
not be
real.
tangible, but he's tangible in you,
Yeah.
and he's tangible in me.
And that's one thing I'll always be thankful for you for. Like, I'm thankful that I grew up in a home who serves God, and you practice what you preached all the time. If you said go to everything in prayer, I would hear you praying. I would see you pray. We would declare things in the morning together, like as a family, like pray declarations over ourselves. I'm just so thankful that the Lord would have it that I grew up in a home who knew him and who served him. I think that's like the best gift a parent can give to a child by
godly
not just word,
foundation. Yes.
like speaking the word, like, oh, trust God, believe in God, but showing it and living it out. And I never ever saw you waver or question, is God real or anything, never ever. And that was always so inspiring to me. Like, on top of you working the 700-hour shifts in a row, I swear, and all of those things, like, you would always instill tithe and offering, serving, praying, reading the word, like all of those things. It was just the best gift.
Yes.
But yeah, I want to be mindful of time, you guys. I hope you're not bored. Surely you cannot be bored. But I do want one, like, kind of like last thing I think to like sum it up is, if there's one thing that you will look in the camera and say to the single mom or single parent, or the only child or the older sibling who has to, get it together for their family because maybe parents are absent, like what would you really want them to know, or what would you want to say?
Well, as a single mom, it was very important to me to show up for my kid. So I would say go the extra mile. I will say to that single mom or the single dad, try and go the extra mile, because your kid, they see that. They may not tell you off the bat or at the time how much you're showing up meant to them and matters, but try and show up in however way you can. If they're at a game, they don't have to feel like, "Oh, mom isn't gonna show up because she's at work." Take a day off, take some time off. I know we the bills need to be paid, but I'm telling you, the reward is sometimes greater in the return from your child than you could get in monetary gain. It's such an important thing for you to let your kid know that they're important, for you to take some time off or do something different. Take your kid out for a date. Dance in the kitchen with your kid. Like, just these little moments are moments that you will never get back, and they'll be etched in your, not just your kids' memories, but also in yours. So it's just, no monetary gift can ever, those are the memories. Just dancing in the kitchen with your kid. Forget the cooking. Turn the stove off for a minute and, take your kid out for a date. Get him or her dressed up, and you get dressed up, and just go to McDonald's, go somewhere, and let them feel special. Always let them feel special. And for that kid, just have some grace for your mom. She is trying. She really is. And don't expect, don't judge her because she can't give you something or she can't be there at that time. Just pray and ask God to let her be there for the next time. And you'd be amazed to see how God will answer your prayers. He does hear the prayers of his children, especially the little ones. So do go to him and do pray. And if she didn't show up, or if he didn't show up when you want him to, he'll show up when you need him to.
Amen.
So, yeah.
That was so nice, Mommy. You did so well. Guys, did she do so well? Don't you love her so much? Well, she's my mom, not yours. Hee hee.
Okay.
No, but thank you, Mom. I love you. You know this. Thank you very much for doing this for me, with me. And I really hope that someone on the other end, whether you're watching or you're listening, you were encouraged by this episode. Comment down below your experiences. Let's encourage one another. Subscribe, turn your post notifications on. Yes. Comment if you want a part 2, and I'll convince my mom to come back.
I don't know.
But I love you, image bearers, and I will see you in the next video.
Okay,
bye.